Hey guys, Medium Misfits here.
Welcome to the latest movie aftermath for the summer.
X-Men! Days of Future Past.
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed
It's
it.
a safe bed, surprisingly.
It definitely is a safe bet.
You know, considering
But-
considering I already had like 3 video projects, I was really stressed out. This was a really nice refresher.
Oh, Calvin is with us.
After,
oh yeah, hi.
So it's just me, Evan, Matt, and Calvin here today. And we're here to talk about Days of Future Past. One of X-Men's most notable arcs. And one of the most, like, famous, like, comic books arcs in history.
Yeah.
So, history. So, if you don't know what this whole thing is about already, Wolverine gets sent back in time to change our dystopian future.
Okay, I'm trying to.
You know?
I'm trying to see about because like the end credit scene to Wolverine, where he's at the airport with Xavier.
Let's go into the end credits thing later. But then the thing is, Wolverine goes back in time to change the future, where the future is basically controlled by these huge giant robots called Sentinels.
Yeah.
Or like the Sentinel system, and basically it's pretty shitty. So
Not the movie, not the movie.
not the movie, but the future,
The future
the supposed
in the
future
story. Yeah.
is shitty, and to change it, Kitty uses her powers to like send Wolverine's consciousness, or I don't know if like his whole body. Well.
It's consciousness.
His
His
consciousness
back to his
into
younger
his
self.
Younger
70s self to stop Raven or Mystique from making shit happen.
Whoa.
And you integrate yourself back into the cast from X-Men First Class. Now, Calvin, you told me before you saw this you haven't seen any of the X-Men movies.
Nope, I have not seen a single.
Were you lost? Were you lost at all?
Nope, not really.
Okay.
I've had a small glimpse of X-Men information when I was little. I used to watch the anime.
Yeah.
So I have. That's improvement.
Okay. Run that by us one more time.
I've basically seen a few episodes of the animated version. I don't know if it's a reboot or a remake, but it was on Kids WB back when I was little. But yeah, going into this movie, I had no clue what to expect,
Okay.
and I gotta say, it's probably one of my favorite Marvel movies so far this year.
So newcomers, they're pretty delighted.
Yeah.
Well, Calvin is at least.
And
Yeah.
okay.
This is a small sample size right here, but I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it. Considering what you
And the
said.
franchise, and I can't imagine how many newcomers there are because this has been around. The movie franchise has been around for nearly 15 years at this point.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Matt and I have seen. Okay, Matt's seen most of them.
No, well, I've seen a couple.
Okay.
I can't really say that I'm like really caught up, but I'm familiar with the franchise.
Yeah.
At least.
I've seen basically all of them, and
Basically all of them.
I mean we won't get into the origins debacle here, but
Yeah. So like in this movie, you'll see like plenty of like flashbacks
I'm
or
surprised. They use
cuts from and scenes from other past X-Men movies,
Yeah.
which is
Seriously?
nice. Yeah,
That
they
was-
So I've been spoiled.
do. Well, kind of. They're just little glimpses into the past.
they're mostly like early
Because
scenes.
I was so impressed by this movie, I might just go back and watch. some
Oh,
of his
you
older
totally
work.
should.
Bryan Singer, he said
They're
he's like
generally
a really good
all
director.
pretty-
He has what, that phenomenal movie from 1987, I
U-
think.
Usual Suspects.
Usual
Suspects.
suspects.
And from what I've heard, X-Men First Class was also pretty good.
Well, that's not him. That was Matthew
wasn't?
Vaughn. That was Matt
Yeah.
Vaughn.
Oh, my bad.
But First Class was decent, I guess.
That was-
In that movie, you'll learn about like was it
What was-
Cerebro?
It was just the Magneto, Eric. The
The
Eric-
duo Charles and Eric. Like you'll learn about their past through that movie, and basically, if you've seen any other past X-Men movies, like basically everything coalesces into this movie, and
It's really
it
impressive to me.
integrates. Yeah.
then did we already mention that you don't need to necessarily know all the character backgrounds in order to?
Yeah, you really don't because they
Because that's just
They do
me.
well on- they do
That's
well-
me right now. I have no idea who was who at first.
really.
They
I just
still-
knew a guy who could read minds, a guy who has magnetic powers, and Hugh Jackman.
I think
with
that
claws.
I think that's okay because when it comes to a superhero movie, you want to profile people based on their powers,
Yeah.
right? So Quicksilver, he appears in this movie for the first half. Great, great.
15, like 10 minutes. 10,
Yeah,
And he's absolutely the best part of this movie. The highlight.
he steals the show.
Yeah.
He steals the show.
He's literally a tease for the sequel. Because I think like because the reviews have been out for like a couple weeks at this point, and then like after all the reviews, the Fox announced he's gonna be in the sequel. Absolutely.
Yeah, but the thing is with Quicksilver, like he took up the first half of like X-Men, like this movie Days of Future Past, but then I feel but he doesn't show up in the second half. So then it's like, well, he a glimpse of his face, of course,
Spoiler.
but then yeah, sure, but the thing is, it's like
he's in the movie and then he's just not.
yeah,
not very particular-
he's
not for-
only there for the writer's sake, almost, don't you think?
Yeah.
Well, then again, they did a pretty good job considering there have been a lot of movies in the past with overabundant amount of characters, and thus it usually ends up being very packed.
Yes.
This
yes.
bit-
You know
this
what I
is-
mean? So considering how many characters there were in this movie, they did a pretty damn good job on focusing on a certain group of them.
Yeah, and like when he does steal the show, like the cinematography. Oh my gosh, so much fun!
Oh my
the
God.
slow motion shots.
He's just basically a giant prankster. Basically, every scene with him involving like all of his basic action scenes, they're phenomenal. They're playful. They're all. There's this very devil may care pranksters this feel to it.
Yeah, that's yeah.
The action
And then,
pretty-
yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, and like with that, also you have the Sentinels. They're like big and menacing, and oh my gosh, that it's like
They're really mean. So that's why you really don't like them.
not just mean. They go brutal when it comes to their fighting.
They literally
Oh my-
decapitate people.
That's
going
horrifying.
They're going really far with the PG-13 bar.
Yeah.
But they're all like at one scene it was okay. They destroyed Ice. Okay, they killed Iceman, and then they crush his while he's ice. So so he's an ice sculpture, basically an ice sculpture. So they break him, and then they summon his head, which is still ice.
This is the kind of movie like if you guys remember Nick Bentz who sometimes appears on our in our series, like the thing is he would love this movie because this thing is freaking brutal when it comes to the violence. Granted, there is a little blood, but then when it comes to like the actual like beating the crap out of
For
each
a
other,
superhero film.
no, they fucking guillotine like the shit out of like the mutants. Sentinels are brutal. Like I played them in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. They look like freaking like NBA players. That's it. But no, in this movie, oh god, they're like
So, yeah,
they're like devil incarnate.
So this is a general warning for those kids that might go watch this movie.
Well,
right?
it's like it feels like a comic movie in the best way possible.
Yeah,
Like this movie actually does feel, and like in the age where blockbusters always try to be big and epic, this one actually has a story that actually feels epic. There is literally a lot at stake. Versus
Definitely.
something like Spider-Man 2, which is like,
which is actually it's
Spider-Man 2 just like throws everything out there. Like
I
X-Men,
haven't seen
there's
it yet.
actually
I haven't seen
mean.
it yet, so-
Well, okay, I won't go into it, but then just saying
Yeah.
that Spider-Man 2, when it comes to their story and their plot, they just throw everything out there. They jam pack everything in. Here, it's
very efficient because again, this movie is more or less split between the past and then the future. And then there's different like mutants for each side for each different time period.
and it doesn't even get complicated like
Yeah.
most time travel movies are.
Because like with the future people, they have their powers. That's basically it. They have nothing to do with the rest of the movie, but they're just there to look cool. And
Yeah,
you know
that's
what? That's fine.
And that's what I think we should talk about. The pacing was actually pretty decent for a
Definitely.
movie that takes place in so many different times. I mean, really, there are movies that do that, and and it feels sometimes they just feel like they're cutting away for budget purposes, or they're just
Yeah.
being lazy because they don't have something that's going to lead up to the next part of that scene, so they just cut away and go to another scene, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. My opinion kind of differs a little, because I felt like it did drag out on some parts a little bit too much,
Yeah.
you know, but
Because I think
but then it's a good thing too, because they're taking it step by step. Well, in any case, your mileage may vary when it comes to the pacing of this movie. Some people may think it's really quick with all the action sequences and all the battle cuts and whatnot.
and everything's really well built up and set up.
Honestly, I found it more character oriented than action packed.
Yes, but then
Because that's the number one thing I enjoyed about this movie. And this is ironic because I'm a guy who's usually into all the crazy action and visual effects stuff. But I found the story to be much more interesting and to listen and watch to than just the visual effects alone. In terms of visual effects and action choreography, I've seen...
better.
Well,
I've
I
seen
wouldn't
better.
say better. They were good. They were really good, but they're not like
Top notch.
top-notch, world-class
Yeah.
sequences, if you know what I mean.
Nothing like Raid 2, huh?
Yeah.
But this
I have a history with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, but I think it works. And well, like Brian saying, like this felt like despite like the very high stakes, it still manages to like not. It's not brooding at all for the most part. It has managed to be very light and fun, at least very much even in the like the first half. Granted, that's a lot of like the stuff about like poking stuff about the 70s.
Yeah.
I like how it escalates into a more serious tone. It doesn't just start out all top-notch dramatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of movies try to do that, like Thor: The Dark World. The intro scene to me was like,
Yeah, like, okay, for this movie, it's like, hey, like, immediately, it throws you right in. It's like, hey, Hugh Jackman, I'm sending you back in time. Go. You have to do it now.
Yeah.
And it's
There's
like,
a great
and
ticking
it's like,
clock.
and for, like, the audience, I don't know, it's just me, probably, it's like, wait, what? You're doing this? And it takes time to settle in, and then, like, you understand what's really, like, actually happening, and it's like, oh my gosh, they really need to save the world.
There is like a lot of great. There's a lot of like obvious stakes and devices set up to actually give you this great sense of pacing. Like,
Yes.
there is stuff at stake. There is a ticking clock.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. But not as much as Godzilla, though. Sorry, that's just me.
I think my expectations were higher just because of all the reviews.
For Godzilla or
The
X-Men?
X-Men.
Yeah, X-Men, yeah.
oh yeah, the reviews have been really.
What is it, 94% on
92.
Rotten? 92.
And
I checked like on the way here.
And
Okay.
8.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
Well, IMDb, give it like at least a week.
Yeah.
I
So
know,
that-
but there is. But holy crap, that is just high for a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
What this? Oh, never mind.
The casting,
Everyone, that's fine.
yeah, everyone's fine. And like
I
the...
have no idea Jennifer Lawrence can pull off moves like that.
There was like, remember,
I think
I
those
know
were just...
she's a great actress.
I think
but
those were just stunt people.
my
in
favorite
all
part.
honesty.
I wish they kept like the helicopters coming behind her from like the Spider-Man 2 teaser for this movie. Because then like if you take that out of context, that would be a great ad for the military. If you join us, Jennifer Lawrence will be your best friend, or she will destroy you. Either way, it works.
It was so random in the showing I saw and in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Because like it cut in at the weirdest time. We were like in the middle of the last like fight scene with
Electro.
Electro, yeah. In the middle of that fight scene, it just pops up. It's
What?
Like, why?
What?
It was
That's
weird. I don't know. It
The
was like,
teaser.
probably like, but I think maybe like something about the projector of the film.
Also
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it comes in like
Oh.
even then like even when it works properly, it comes in a weird place at the credits.
Yeah.
It's not even right after like the whole like the actual CG credits, the CG like other displays. It's a little bit into the actual end credits. It happens and then nothing, and then credits and then nothing.
We're talking X-Men here.
Well, X-Men, this one actually goes like old. This movie's again. This goes old school Marvel, where you only get one end credit scene, but it's at the very end.
Yeah.
But this one actually is pretty impressive, I think.
I really enjoyed it.
But again, I think going back to the old school approach, like Bryan Singer brings a lot of the older, like from the original trilogy, or like at least 1 and 2, because like he actually has a title sequence, and it's in the same like visual design as X-Men and X2.
Yeah. And somehow it works.
Yeah.
Like even though it
felt
a lot, but it still worked.
It feels both. It's again, this movie has been joked around as like both a reboot and a sequel and a sort of sidequel. It's like a weird hybrid between sequel, prequel, reboot.
All the quills.
Yeah. This movie literally this is kind of it's not exactly a spoiler because it kind of fulfills everyone's dream, but this movie basically literally like erases X-Men 3 from canon. More or less. So if you didn't like X-Men 3, you guys,
I'll have to think about that.
More or less, you're like if you didn't like X-Men 3, like most people do, then your wish is granted after seeing this movie.
Yeah.
You know, this is the one movie out of all of the movies I've seen trailers for back in 2013 that actually kept the same tone as its trailer. So good job, trailer guys. You guys did really good job in capturing exactly what kind of
selling the
Stay
product.
true to advertisement. True
Yeah.
advertising.
Exactly.
Movie advertising. Not like everything's flashy. Because this shit is really hardcore. Hardcore when it comes to like drama.
And all the comic booky stuff. Because again, you literally have entire carrier fleets of Sentinels going all in on the X-Men.
Oh my god, that was epic.
That would.
You have
Imagine being one of the X-Men in there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you'd be
I'd be
really scared.
terrified. Cause like that shit, those guys round up everyone.
As if 3 of them wasn't enough. They come out with
Sure, they're following through the meta Nazi concentration camp kind of bullshit.
The honest trailer made a good point about Magneto, who was like a Holocaust survivor, but ultimately becomes Hitler. Even in this movie too. It didn't have in X-Men 3 and in this movie. Literally, history repeats itself. It's not kidding.
You know what makes me okay? There is one plot hole with this movie that I do not understand.
Is it Halle Berry? Because we can always complain about
Halle
Storm.
Berry is Halle Berry. She's great.
She's fine.
She's fine.
It's not like she has anything to do.
It's at one of the
It was
most
Storm.
the turning points of this whole movie, and spoiler alert, lines and alert warning.
It's
okay.
all because Magneto and Mystique are stupid.
Okay.
Or they're stubborn.
The plastic gun. Because
I was going to say that at some point. I was like, that looks like a toy.
yeah. Why does
Yes.
why does it look like she
It's
has
plastic.
a squirt
It's
gun?
the plastic gun was made to like counter Magneto, right? But then the thing is,
It's a squirt
how on earth did that end up with the Secret Service after like they captured Magneto? Like they don't know.
Well,
Like
I thought she brought it with her.
she brought it with her. I don't know. Okay.
Well, yeah, they didn't have a close.
Mystique, I don't think she has any pockets in there. Okay.
No, they had a close-up
Can
shot
you,
of
like,
her
go crazy?
pulling out the pistol.
Pulling out the plastic pistol?
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't think it was a plastic pistol.
I might have forgotten. I don't know. But I remember seeing a close-up shot of her.
But
pulling
then,
out her
like,
gun.
but even so, it's like they wanted the writers wanted the plastic gun to be there.
But that was like sort of that was somewhat of a carryover from X-Men 3. But that was like, because this movie again, like I think we brought it up earlier, it's like this movie's just great at bringing everything from all the movies together. It somehow squeezed X-Men Origins in there a little bit. I couldn't really tell. I thought they just forgot that intentionally. But like again, you have the X-Jet back. You have the original like black costumes back. You have again for most the surviving members of the original team back.
Yeah.
Again, you have a title sequence back. You even have some of the main score from X-Men 2, X2 back. But then you have all the first class elements with the cast, the time period, the setting, the period setting, and it feels like it does a great job of sending off the old X-Men, sans Hugh Jackman, who still wants to be in the franchise.
Okay, sorry, go. Continue.
But that depends on whatever plans they might have for him. But still allowing adventures with for the First Class team.
Yeah, and
Did the other movies have similar themes to it, or?
well, the similar theme of like, oh,
In terms of music,
mutant humans.
but in terms of score, no, there's a lot
The
of.
theme about mankind destroying itself.
Oh yeah,
And
Yeah,
whether-
essentially.
And whether or not we have to hope to change it.
Yeah,
more or less.
that kind of
different
runs.
shades of it.
That runs
No,
pretty
I see.
much throughout all the X-Men series. It's like, are you one of us or are you one of them, kind of thing going on. And if you're one of them, we need to get rid of you because
Which
you
re-
ain't us.
Which is pretty cool about the movie because it relates a lot to our current politics, right?
It's well, X-Men has always been like that. It's mostly a story, like the X-Men series in general, about acceptance in a way. And some people are more equal than others, but in the end,
Yeah, there are some. I think there are some problems at that point because Peter Dinklage, he's more or less your main bad guy, and he's Peter Dinklage. He's a good actor. He does what he can with it. But like, you have this character who's sort of like, who's fascinated by mutants to the point like he wants to capture and kill them for the sake of having something to research of. But he himself is technically immune because he's Peter Dinklage, so he has dwarfism. They never bring that up. So like,
well, no, they did. They did hint it with a joke.
yeah.
They hinted it with a joke by one of the congressmen.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
yeah. So I think what they mean is by like mutants with powers, not like mutants like
Just like normal genetic disorders.
normal genetic disorders. We're talking about like enhanced abilities where you can basically,
You can-
I have a chameleon tongue. There, snatch your gun, and then it ends up in my mouth. What am I gonna do with this? That's one of the army guys too. So, yeah. And he somehow ends up working at a burger shop. He might be the guy who made In-N-Out must be a mutant. Conspiracy theory.
I have a question about the movie. It's not.
Okay, bitches, I'm out. Magneto.
I have a question about the movie. It's not a plot hole. I'm just curious because I think I missed it somehow. Since she disguised herself. Oh wait, can we put like a spoiler alert?
Oh, of course.
Since she disguised herself as the president in that near the end scene.
Yeah.
What exactly happened to the real president?
Oh, he was still there.
He's lived.
Oh, he was still there.
He
He
was
was like,
just
what-
saying. He was like,
But he didn't
"What
say-
the fuck is going on?"
Wait, so he didn't say anything? He was just like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Who's this person who's pretending?
This woman is whack. These mutants. What the fuck? Yeah.
But this is like
Or
This is Nixon when he's already recording, so we can't like connect it.
I am not a crook.
This is one of the worst. And like in my history with like seeing movies or TV shows with Nixon impersonators, this is one of the weaker ones.
I felt like sometimes he looked like Nixon, and sometimes he didn't.
I know, right? It's the way the makeup looks sometimes. It's terrible.
I mean, he's got the nose. He's got the
he's kinda
disgruntled
chubby.
face.
Yeah.
But then sometimes he was a little too chubby on the sides.
We can't do Nixon impressions anymore because they all sound like Professor Fudge.
We're killing mutants. Mutants, we need to show them what we're made of.
They
I'm
all,
not a crook.
they all sound like
Magneto out.
Futurama has like if Nixon's like whole legacy hasn't already kind of ruined him, then Futurama has. Just because we can never like properly like create an impression of him again. It's all Futurama.
Skinner. Reagan smash.
John Cusack from The Butler was a better Nixon than this, honestly.
I haven't really seen The Butler.
Yeah.
That's one of my
haven't seen The
sins.
Butler.
That's one of my sins for 2000.
Nah, no, yeah.
I didn't-
I'm good.
It is
Yeah,
a good
good.
movie, though.
Okay.
It's fine, I think.
It's fine.
Yeah, I liked it. Fine.
I think it must have been one of my sins for 2013 because I didn't see The Butler, and it's supposed to be like a really good
Well,
movie.
then I
right?
must have a lot of sense because there's a lot I need to catch.
Yeah,
up.
you're pretty sinful.
That reminds me.
You're pretty sinful.
Okay, shut
That,
up.
that reminds me. Like this and X-Men First Class. Your 10th and 11th grade teachers will love this or hate it, depending on how much they change history. Either way, like well,
Oh my god.
Of course, you'd go into high school. You go into high school. Wow. Okay,
I
go
use it as
keep
a
going
reference
with
point.
it. I know you're using it as
Since
a
we're
reference
talking
point.
about-
Well, I think I'm being coy right now.
You're talking to a specific genre of people called IB.
No, all high school students.
Okay. Then let's roll with it.
Because either your history teachers will either love or hate this movie because how much it's changed history. You, on the other hand, will love it because it will give you a great excuse to remember the Paris Peace Accords.
And how JFK really died.
Angelina Jolie. Remember Wanted guys with like the weapons of fate and the curving. Morgan Freeman was probably young enough at that time. So there was bullet covering in this movie. So it's all Morgan Freeman's fault that Kennedy died.
What?
You guys haven't seen Wanted? Okay,
No, I haven't. Sorry.
it's okay. I think that's probably
Sorry, I was in deep thought.
I think we were all in lost thought.
Guys, you have to see more movies. That's all I can tell you. See more movies.
When it comes to the pop culture scene, yeah, of course, watch more movies. If you want to be a filmmaker, watch more movies. If you want to be a...
You want to be a good student. You want to be a great student. Depends on your subject. Trey.
Fuck you, Thomas! Oh my god.
Yeah, Matt.
But overall, it was a really fun movie. You don't have to be like super familiar with the franchise because they established the key characters already, and the
Agreed.
character development is really good, especially with like Charles and with Misty.
Yeah.
Charles! Don't get into my head, Charles! I'm Magneto! What? What are you saying? I'm red! Don't get into my head!
You're like the two of us.
That woman who
We're
just
doing
walked
it.
next to you probably.
I know. It's the best thing ever.
We're doing a terrible Ian McKellen,
McKellen.
Yeah.
Ian McKellen.
Okay.
Man, McKellen.
So Ian.
They
So
also
Ian.
have
So
that
Ian.
one quote from what's his name? Professor X.
Professor X,
Yeah,
yes.
They have the one quote from Professor X that everybody on YouTube is making fun of. I don't want your future. Where he-
No!
I don't want your suffering.
My favorite part is like because I've seen that original trailer like at least 15 times in theaters.
Whatever, man, I'm out.
The best part of that.
You're suffering? Not my problem. Flies out.
Like since I've seen that original trailer in the theaters at least 15 times, I always notice how like he keeps spitting. I was like this trail of saliva when he says your future. Well, Matt. Okay, Matt, you're at character development.
Oh yes, character development is
It's a thing that like
We were a bit on topic.
it's a thing that happens in works of fiction.
action was good, visuals were really cool. I like them.
Very
And
intriguing story for me.
Yeah, and pacing, the idea was cool.
It doesn't feel compact, unlike a lot of movies that have a lot of superheroes and villains and stuff.
Yeah, because it's a really
Not as compact.
deep, like interwoven
I guess
story.
opinions differ.
Your mileage may vary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
watch it, people.
Definitely a summer movie worth watching. It's all your opinion. I'll just leave you with this.
We should.
Bitches, I'm out.
I think it's easily
We
like
should just lift the car up while.
If I'm drunk, I think I can do it. I don't know.
Technically, if you have enough adrenaline, you can, according to one of my friends.
if you believe really
I'll
hard
trust in your friend for maybe a few minutes.
enough. If you believe really hard enough, No, I can't. I don't believe enough. But yeah, easily one of the best entries in this franchise. Which on a side note, I want to give credit for like it survived this long without having to say, "Oh, this is not making enough money." Rebooted.
Yeah.
This has kept an impressive continuity, even more so than even like the main MCU. Only because this franchise started when like that wasn't even a conceivable thing.
Yeah.
Huge respect to everyone who worked on the project. Apparently, we saw at the end of the credits, even after the end scene, that there's like over what?
It's a setup for like the next
150,000 jobs. Wow.
No, like 15.
15,000.
15,000. So
Whatever.
that's
Still, that's
a
over
lot.
100,000.
So good
crazy
job
lot.
supporting our economy.
It's like I think it's like Fox's second most expensive movie they've ever made.
Yeah,
And-
everybody put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, and-
it came out pretty well. So,
And to like ensure their revenue and profits, they put it on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I feel like they'll definitely hit their 100 million mark that they are
For the opening
expecting.
weekend.
honestly, we don't have to worry about Marvel. They're always going to make a lot.
They're
of
gonna
money.
make a lot of money.
Especially with another movie that's coming out this year.
No,
Right?
they're making a movie each and every season. No, maybe
Yeah.
even 2 to 3.
I
I think the-
each season.
I think
I saw
schedule-
Captain America
The schedule goes
2
like I think like
recently, so.
two 1 year and then one main Avengers movie, like at the following year, and then the year after that they set up a new sequel.
No, but then here,
Are you
year
speaking
year 2014, we have Captain America, Spider-Man 2. We
Well,
have.
Spider-Man 2 is not Marvel. Isn't it?
Well, like
It's Sony.
Is
Or-
it partially? Like
is Marvel.
Marvel, but then Sony has rights to it, and it's really big
Oh, I
mumbo
see.
jumbo. But I'm adding it onto the Marvel scene,
Okay.
and then you. So
X-Men.
you have those two. Now you have X-Men, and then you're gonna have Guardians of the Galaxy.
You might as well say there's a lot of superhero movies coming out this year.
One for each season. No, not even season. No, like one for
every 2 months, every 2 to 4 months.
Every 2 to 4 months.
Disney.
If you
You're
generally,
a Disney. Ever since you annexed Marvel, you're a fucking goddamn monster. You know that, right? You know that, right?
economists love you. It's efficient.
I love you, and I kind of hate you for dishing this out so quickly.
At least you make them good. That's all you can.
You make them good. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
But then sometimes having too much in one sitting is kind of a bad thing too, don't you think?
I think maybe mostly because of this news about the Edgar Wright leaving Ant-Man thing. Now I'm having worries.
Yeah.
Because usually, like, they've been good about, like, balancing between, okay, this is what we need to do for our long-term business, but this is what you want to do for your creative purposes.
Yes.
And generally, they've managed to balance that well. But I know Edgar Wright... I've seen enough of Edgar Wright movies multiple times enough that I know he is a very particular director with a particular sense of humor and, like, sense of, like, direction. Even... as much as I wanted to see Ant-Man by Edgar Wright, I knew that was a strange choice for director versus studio. Anyway, back to my
Speaking of worries, this is a little off topic, but are you guys a little worried about Avengers 2? I mean, considering how many Marvel movies they made with after credit scenes,
They've
that have been trying to tease you and lead so much hype to this movie.
Well,
They pre-planned it enough. I trust them enough at this point, and they haven't more or less they haven't had like a bad movie or a major misstep so far.
What was the guy that was directing the first one again?
Joss Whedon.
Yeah, Joss Whedon. Yes.
Yeah, it was Joss Whedon.
Is he directing the second one?
Yeah, he's doing all the Avengers
Oh
stuff.
wow.
Joss
Wow.
Whedon's basically in charge
He's basically going to be like the Peter Jackson for Avengers.
because since all the Marvel movies are leading up to an Avengers movie, he basically gets to dictate what happens in what movie, more or less. Well, he gets to sort of balance with the main producers. They're like, here's what we're gonna do to keep these individual characters like viable for their own franchises, but also enough that they can support a new Avenger movie.
Oh, so he's the one who's actually coordinating all these Marvel movies as a whole.
Well, he's Joss Whedon, and he's earned enough
Holy
cred
crap.
that he can
Yeah.
he's not coordinating everything per se, but then he's just like
since he's doing all the
let-
Avengers stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like proposing ideas, and all these other directors, they're like, let's we'll touch on that just a little, right?
Well,
yeah, it leans towards him like what, 60-70%?
more or less. Like they basically. I remember it was a funny story about Thor 2, and they were doing some reshoots. There was this one scene. It was like the scene right before the big ship battle near the end, where they had trouble trying to write it to make it funny or make it feel alive. So they literally called Joss Whedon, helicoptered him over there, had him write the script, maybe directed a little, and like, bye guys. It's a great send-off to, it's a great like cap to all the people who've stuck with this franchise since its inception, since like the original movie.
Inception.
There's
Sure, Inception, yeah.
and it provides a very promising future for the first class people.
Well said. Well said.
Okay.
With that,
Yeah, sorry guys, I really need to get going.
okay, so we're pretty much done here
Yeah.
until our next review,
Now's
right?
now's the part where
We're still,
float away, right?
yeah.
Float away, everyone.
I'm out.
Fly away.